is that, you skillfully kind of divide your life into these two parts, or see your life as consisting of these two parts. And the goal is to blur these two parts over time. We start off with not having these two parts at all, meaning no practice, just going about our lives. Then when we commit to a path, a method, right, then for that time, we do have to artificially segment off these times that we say, this is formal practice. And so then, during formal practice, and that includes like coming to the temple and doing group practice, and even your own space, if you have established a space in your house, that's delineating a space so that when you enter into that space, when you enter into that time, when you enter into that context, you have a heightened sense of everything that is going on there. So that the lessons that we learn, the experiences that we have during that time, can be carried into. So that the reverence and care that we give to ritual objects, for example, can be extended to other objects that we have around us. Then your world begins to unfold in a different way. This is what we call pure vision or sacred outlook. It begins to unfold. And I want to, especially for the benefit of Asheville people, I think Gary Snyder, the poet that writes a lot about nature, right? At a certain point, he was noticing the fetishization of nature. And he says, nature includes the parking lot. So your sacred outlook has to even be extended to, the parking lot, the landfill. You cannot wish them away. Sacred outlook is also not saying, you don't see that there are real technical problems there, right? The landfill is poisoning the ground, We're not saying that. But we are saying, your sacred outlook cannot just be towards things you like and not towards things you don't like. So cultivating deity yoga is to cultivate sacred outlook. So then, especially when we enter into Dharma spaces, whether public Dharma spaces or your personal Dharma space, it marks a temporary transition, or as anthropologists would call it, the liminal space. So in liminal spaces, the old structure kind of temporarily breaks down. You're not sure what the new structure is either. So there is uncertainty. And sometimes I think in a good way, we try to make people feel comfortable when they come to the Dharma Center. And that's the approach, especially here at Urban Dharma. So I hold my tongue. I don't say, anything. Because ultimately, Buddha Dharma Sangha is not offended, whatever heck you want to do. So on that level, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. But, in entering liminal space, we also should recognize that part of that means feeling a little bit out of place. So if you feel a little out of place, not knowing what is going on or what you should do, it is also not necessarily bad. Because that is part of the liminal space that we are talking about. Liminality. So like in the sadhana when it says, Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddho Hang. Right? Then we say, oh, everything dissolves into emptiness. Right? But we have kind of limited what emptiness means. Right? This is our confused habits. We limited what emptiness means. So we concoct a very comfortable emptiness. Non-threatening emptiness. Yes. Maybe a little bird chirping in the background is fine. What if the emptiness arises as a complete disorientation? Oh, no. No. I don't like that emptiness. But emptiness is emptiness. Empty of reference points. Empty of your fixations. Including your fixations on serenity, peace. I don't advocate inviting chaos into your life. As many of you know, I'm constantly footnoting whenever potential chaos can enter. So I also like my control. So I'll be transparent about that. Hopefully it's controlling people from getting burnt too early. Well, tearing a muscle at the gym, you'll never return. So I prefer that in the spiritual gym, that is the Dharma center or your practice space at home, that you build up these muscles in a gentle way. But the whole point of building up these muscles in a gentle way is not so that you can walk around in a padded room that you try to make this world into. No, it's so that you build these muscles that can make you tough. Tough in the sense of the heart is steadied. The heart is stable. The heart doesn't flutter so easily, whether by exciting things or disgusting things. You don't move so easily. Not you don't move so easily like you're turned into a rock, because knowing is always there. Clarity of mind is always there. Appearances is always pristine. So to connect this to deity practice, we don't just meditate formlessness, which is a lot of Buddhist meditation outside the context of Vajrayana is mostly, whether you do it right or you do it wrong, some fashion of formlessness. And I think for many of us, we crave that. So even if you grudgingly practice Tibetan Buddhism because that's the only show in town, from time to time, you go, I don't know, do I really need to do this? Visualizing the deity, well, you don't really. But as long as you're stuck with the only show in town, then spare yourself, that agony, and try to understand and appreciate, why this emphasis of seeing yourself as Buddha, of actively using your imagination of what a Buddha form looks like. Because here is really emphasizing the knowing. Right now, we are also knowing, but knowing in a way that causes suffering. When we are practicing, it's also the knowing mind, the mind that knows, that is bringing up all these experiences. Know that. And then when we are Buddhas, that knowing mind takes the form of Buddhas, meaning take the form that relieves the suffering of others. And so we appear as Amitayus. You're like, well, Amitayus is kind of weird. Yes, right. It has to state that only two hands, because you have opened the door for more than two hands, And thankfully, only two hands, The red, we can work with that, right? I mean, summer is almost going to get here soon, It's like a nice summer tan, reddish, not so much sunburned, Yeah, that redness is about vitality of life, So Amitayus is not so hard to relate to. Yeah? And people, and sometimes, understandably, we have to struggle a bit, and struggling doesn't mean you're not doing it right. Struggling with it is part of it. So sometimes you struggle, people are like, I don't know, it's so male, Yeah, but there's also Vajravarahi, right? And then when you get too into also the male and the female, it's like, hold on. You're not asking me any questions about that lion head, but you are asking me questions about the male and the female? Let's work on the lion head first, right? And like all the extra hands, So, Dharma centers everywhere. There are Dharma centers joining us today, particularly the Tibet House Network. Your dedication to supporting your root Lama, Lama Tony, for this year's obstacle year for him. So you guys are joining us. I appreciate that. On our end here at Urban Dharma, this series of 4 Saturdays is as part of the start of a new cycle or curriculum that His Holiness the Drigong Kyabgon has given us, those who practice with me in the Drigong Kagyu. I have a responsibility to teach eventually, to lead everyone into the practice of the Ladrup Devedoje, the accomplishing the Guru blissful Vajra practice. So Amitayus is one of the Ngondro, one of the preliminary. So that's my reason for these 4 Saturdays. And then, of course, it coincides with what the Casa Tibets are doing. So I welcome all of you and say hello to you. I'm always very happy to see those of you who are able to gather together with other Sangha members. Technology has given us the opportunity to further maximize our Dharma activities, but it should not be in place of being in the same space with other practitioners. It should not be a substitute. It should be a complement to being with other people at the Dharma Center. Because we are 3-dimensional beings. So don't forget that. When we become too comfortable on the 2-dimensional realm, then when we need 3-dimensional attention, it's very hard for people to give it to you and even for you to receive it. Do not worship convenience. That's a demon. But if you know how to use convenience, that's a God. That's what especially Machi Labdrun's tradition, cutting, emphasizes. Gods and demons are the play of the mind. If you know, then everything arises as gods. If you don't know, then everything arises as demons. If you don't know, you are constantly looking for demons to cut. Then there's no end to cutting demons. If you know, then you know where to cut, which is to cut the division into gods and demons. Once you have cut that, then everything becomes clear. And so let us begin with the opening recitations. So because we have a joint group, so to say, with so many of you, maybe more than English speaking is Spanish speaking. So what we're going to do with the opening chant is, like the last time, we're going to chant them one time in Tibetan, then one time in English. So the four usual opening recitations. So those of you who are here with me in the temple, is this light gray, starting on the first page. It's page 1, page 2, and then page 5, which is basically the aspiration and action bodhicitta words by Kyopa Jigten Sumgen, and then the short refuge by Lord Atisha, and then the four immeasurables from the words of the Buddha. So these are the opening recitations that we will do.
¿Me escuchan? No, para preguntarte si vamos a utilizar las plegarias de clase.
It's okay.
We can hear you in the main room.
No, it's okay. They are figuring out some stuff. Message the team about people speaking. Those of you who are in that group, don't enter samadhi. There are sentient beings to take care of. Dungel dundre nerdu lana me pa yang da para zobe chanju rempoche to par ja de jid sama ge ge bardu lunga yisum ge wala go mashi bardu lunga yisum ge wala go du dereng ne Sung te ne ma sam ta sang ge bar de lung a isum ge wa la go song ge jo dan jo nam la chan chu bar de da ne kyap su chi da ge jin so ge be so nang ge Drola penchir sangye drupra sho mana kada nyambe senchen tamje dewa da Dewe Gundan Tempar Gyurji Dungyao Dan Dungyao Gi Gyudan Drawa Gyurji Dungao Mepe Dewa Dami Drawa Gyurji Nering Chadan Nidan Drawe Danyan La Nebar Gyurji. Go back to the front now one time. These four in English and then in the Spanish room. If you all are doing in Spanish, please go ahead in the Spanish audio channel. Oh, Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors, harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Page 5. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, as happiness and the causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion.
Todas las madres seres sensibles, ilimitadas como el espacio, especialmente los enemigos que no, los obstructores que me dañan, hacer la primera la conciencia y felicidad que se separen del sufrimiento los estableceré en el desarrollo superable, perfecto y completo del deseado despertar. Por lo tanto, hasta que alcance la Buddha, me entrego la actitud del cuerpo para mi mente hasta que me muera. Me comprometeré a la virtud de mi cuerpo para desde ahora hasta mañana hasta ahora. Me comprometeré a la virtud de mi cuerpo para la Suprema Asamblea, por lo que está cansada de el poder mérito de la sociedad, o tenga una tutela para el beneficio de todos los la felicidad y su lo que no es de cuenta. Y es la pregunta de Dios, ya sea que Dios que es eso cercano y de
I think we should do those chants, whether in English or Spanish, at the same time, so that the Spanish chant is happening in the Spanish translation or audio channel. Otherwise, it will take us forever to do the whole practice. So you have to do it simultaneous, just like the teaching is being translated simultaneous. Then, of course, the chant in Spanish may have to go a little faster. You have more syllables, your words. In English, it tends to be shorter. Okay, now please turn to page 1 of the Amitayus practice. At the same time, if your bell and dorje was laying down on the table, now they can stand up, so to say. And so the first is to invoke the blessings of the lineage, the guru, and the lineage of gurus, the idam, so Amitayus and all the longevity deities of Amitayus, as well as the dakinis and the protectors of this particular tradition of practice. Now, before we do that, first, try to remember, right, the qualities of this Amitayu practice. So it's about cultivating life vitality. To cultivate the life vitality, in this practice, in the section on summoning the life vitality forces, it talks about how life vitality as it pertains to the 5 elements. So those 5 elements, from the least material to the most densely physical, is space, wind, fire, water, earth. So if we look at that section, quickly looking at that section, if you have the booklet in English, that begins on page 16. On page 16. I don't know the Spanish. So on 16, in reverse order, from the most dense is earth element. So earth element, how it is present within this body, is here it says the element of flesh. Actually, it includes all the masses in the body. So the other one, not explicitly stated here, is bones. So bones and flesh. The element of water, most obviously and important, is blood. But not just blood. All the other liquids in the body, all the other secretion is all included in there. Element of fire with heat, especially digestive heat. The element of wind with breath. And on the subtle level, the energies. So all of this, right? You have like the obvious elements, you have the subtle way or the physical way they exist in the context of a body, of a human body. And then you have the subtle life force that goes about building these. So then breath, the obvious one is the oxygen. Then underlying that is prana or chi. And then space is consciousness. And so even though we say elements, we think it's all physical, it's really a spectrum between physical and mental, emotional. It's a spectrum. So consciousness is part of these five. There's also the five wind energies. So these are five types of energy that their qualities are such that they are like wind. That's why they are called winds. Lung. Literally, in Tibetan, they are called winds. But they are not the same as, like gassy winds. No, that's totally unrelated, actually. These winds are called winds because this type of energy, this type of force that course through our body, their characteristic is like wind. There are two other types of energy called tripa and beken, literally bile and phlegm. But they're not talking about that bile and phlegm. They're using those names as metaphoric. And so bile is a fire type of energy. And phlegm is a wind and earth combined type of energy. So these are three types of energies. Also related then to the elements. So here in the Amitayus practice, as you, in the, say, Tibetan Himalayan, context, as you adopt a healthier diet, adopt a healthier lifestyle, and if necessary, take medication, right? That's the external support. The internal support is the Amitayus, among many possibilities. But the most common one, the most trusted one, so to say, is this practice of Amitayus. In particular, this practice of Amitayus is said to prevent against untimely death. Then particularly within the context of embarking on a new cycle of practices, as I referenced earlier. So there is this understanding that when you embark on a more focused practice of any type, what happens is that you inevitably will temporarily stir up some disturbances. It's sort of like that house that you have avoided cleaning for so long. when you finally decide to clean, the first couple of hours is going to be a little chaotic. Yeah. The first couple of hours, well, depending on how messy it is, sometimes first 20 minutes or first 2 hours, or maybe the first 2 days, or for some people, the first 2 weeks, or the first 2 months, right? It's bound to be a little bit more chaotic. And that chaos can cut short life. Metaphorically or literally. Metaphorically, it cuts off your practice life. Because that chaos is so much, you're like, no, this practice is making it worse. I don't want. Now, if you're familiar with like Tibetan system or traditional medical system, then you have a little bit more kind of, even if you can't articulate it, you have a little bit more experience that will inform you when things go wrong, when you starting a practice, when things become seemingly more chaotic. You also know you're like, this could be because it's now starting to work. Now, but if your only experience with healing traditions is completely in the Western allopathic tradition, then that's all just bad news, because we are trained to think, if you go to the doctor, you're supposed to take medicine, then that medicine is going to make you feel good. Good, and then good. But in a lot of traditional modalities of healing, the initial period is meant to stir up all the problems so that it can be identified and then treated. So they may even give you medicine to pull up all the problems. Myself, I experienced this, many years ago. I thought, this medicine is making me worse. For whatever reason, I didn't give up. I just continued and finished the whole course of it, Then, as I mentioned before, I've told this story, mysteriously also the problem went away. I didn't even notice that the problem went away. Until just one day going, wait, when was the last time I had this, digestion issue? Not really, Yeah, this was like in my early 20s. Maybe late 20s. It's definitely started like, early teens, then into late 20s, and then it was around year 2000, early 20s, right? No, late 20s. And that things just shifted, late 20s, and then never really had digestion problems anymore. Those of you who know me, it's not because I'm not trying. The level of spice can destroy any digestive system, it seems. I'm tempting fate, testing Amitayus with my eating habits. So to prevent untimely death also speaks to then sometimes it's actually negative forces could also come. So to prevent all of that as a preventive measure, we cultivate this Amitayus. Jinla kundu saju lama dang du choso chumden se la mitum chunze kandro chokyong la sechi dongwe iki sodem na tuje daso kakya duchen kun Chimme gompang sala gogyu. To you, root and lineage, gurus, embodiment of all blessings, you, Bhagavan, deity of life, who bestows the supreme siddhi, you Dakinis, Dharmapalas, who destroy discordant conditions, supplicate with single-pointed longing through your compassion, may embodied beings pervading all of space be raised to the deathless state. So now is the blessing of the offerings. Om Bhadra Saparanakam Om Sarva Vidya Pura Pura Sura Sura Avataya Avataya Om Rang Tsepa Me Du Sewe Tuke Sabongi Oki Chuchu Gyawa Korche Sepa Me Namkar Dimyi Namkar Chen Ram. You appear as Amitayus, light radiating from the seed syllable at our heart, inviting the victorious ones of the 10 directions and retinue, all in the form of Amitayus, to the space in front. Vajra samajava pema asana tishta satanama sarva tathagata saparivara bandhanam karomi. Kunjo sumla dhagyab chi dipa mige sosor sha drove kela jeyira samge chanchub yiki sun samge chodan sochola chanchu bardu dhagyab chi ranshin doni rabchu chir Chanchu semni ke bargi, chanchu chogi semni ke kine, semchen tamche dagi drondu nir, chanchu chocho iwon che bargi, drula penjir samge drupar shor. To the three
trials I go for refuge. I confess each misdeed and non-virtue, and rejoice in the virtue of wandering beings. I will also be mindful of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. I go for refuge until awakening is reached, to fully accomplish the benefit of both self and other. I generate the awakening mind. Having generated supreme awakened mind, I will serve all sentient beings and delightfully engage in the supreme deeds of the Bodhisattvas for the benefit of wandering beings. May I accomplish Buddhahood. Om Vajra Argam Aho, Om Vajra Padyam Aho, Om Vajra Pushpe Aho, Om Vajra Dubhe Aho, Om Vajra Aloke Aho, Om Vajra Gende Aho, Om Vajra Nividye Aho, Om Vajra Shabda Aho. Tamchela Shindu Kungi Trangneki Lutu Peni Namkuntu Choktu Tepe Topargi. Oh, to all of you worthy of praise, I continuously bow with bodies countless as dust particles. With supreme faith I pray. Sojinam Ramlatim Pargu, the assembly field dissolves into you. Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddhoham. Najender Zengi Tobak Mobort Zenba Tamche Tomba Nidu Gyur Leng so pe ma da we den dang torma igeri marpo ring chat seta dan che pale utro doni jetsur du la tin le yong su gyur pale gombo tse pa me kundo marpo nala ran shing me pa tsempe gempa shio chi cha ni pa. The conceptualities of grasping at self and other, holding things as real, all this becomes emptiness within this state. On a multicolored lotus and moon seed, the Torma in the mirror self appears as a ray, pre-radiating lights, accomplishing the two benefits. The lights return to the re, which transforms into the Amitayus, red in complexion, appearing yet without inherent existence. He has all the major and minor marks and has one face and two arms. Udraya pechu penchen rinpoche naso pe ugyen yen gen gu gen dusha cha du shabdu la sopa ojo we zepa Dharna tsoki toyo dameyo chen chani nyamshagi tenna chimetse tutsi gangwe bumpa kagyen kuchinki trepanam. He has long hair and wears a crown of various jewels, earrings, drawers, and long necklaces, bracelets, anklets, and so forth, radiant and handsome. He wears multicolored silks for upper and lower garments. His two hands are in the gesture of meditative equipoise, supporting a vase with a sprinkler and silk ribbons tied around the neck of the vase, filled with the elixir of deathlessness. Sham durje kyumo chungi shubetrawa om grinpa atrukar hongi tsembale otrope kombadan drawe yeshe. his legs are in Vajra position. At the heart center is an Om. In the throat is an Ah. And in the heart is a home from which light radiate, inviting the Jnana Sattvas to appear in the form identical to the visualized form. Zahom bam ho nisu me partim layan tu ke sabon le otrope wangila ringa che. Zahom bam ho, they dissolve inseparably. Then from the seed syllable in the heart, lights radiate, inviting the empowerment deities of the five families. Om Panchakula Saparivara Argyam Padyam Pushpe Dhupe Aloke Gene Nevideshaka Pratitya So. sarva tathagata abhishinchantu mam sova tabe vangile Om sarva tathagata abhishekata Bhumpe chu angurku gangti marda chu lamale obame ki uye wang la nam rang ni la tim Thus supplicate the empowerment deities Om Sarva Tathagata Abhisinchatu Mam with Om Sarva Tathagata Abhishekata They bestow empowerment with water from the vase, purifying the body of saints. The overflowing water turns into Amitabha, ornamenting the ground. The empowerment deities dissolve into you. In this context, the empowerment deities then are to be regarded as your root gurus. And so their pristine mind and yours have become inseparable. No difference. Om Sarva Tathagata Ayujnana Saparivara Argyam Pratijasoha Om Sarva Tathagata Saparivara Padyam Pratijasoha Om Sarva Tathagata Ayunyana Saparivara Pushpe Pratijasoha Om Sarva Tathagata Saparivara Saparivara Dupe Pratijasoha Om Sarva Tathagata Ayugyana Saparivara Aloke Pratijasoha Om Sarva Tathagata Ayugyana Saparivara Gende Pratijasoha Om Sarva Tathagata Ayugyana Saparivara Nevede Pratijasoha Om Sarva Tathagata Ayugyana Saparivara Shabda Jiten Dembe Tsowo Tsepame Dumin 지와 말루 점세배 곰메 둥야 규르파 남기갸 상계 제바 멜라자세 Amitayus, chief guide of this world, destroyer of untimely death without exception, refuge for protectorless suffering beings, I pay homage to you, boundless life. 두가르다웨 우수리이기 달마기 고로알레 오트로도웨 도제상기 장센 남기 진랍두네 나트랭 사본다 라템바르기루 In the heart, in the center of a moon is a syllable, surrounded by the mantra, radiating lights that benefit wandering beings, and the blessings of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they dissolve into the mantra, garland and syllable. Now try not to think, in the way we normally think about things, but rather first experience being present, both body and mind, in this place, in this room, in this building, in this part of town. So body and mind in time and space. Then body appearing in the form, as described in the form, in the magnificent form of Amitayus. Using that to counteract our otherwise neurotic and confused self-conception of I'm this and I'm that, I'm like this, I'm like that. Drop that. And instead, in the place of that, is I am Amitayus. Red glowing, which is the color of vitality, of life force. You can almost think of yourself as Amitayus being like a magnet, very naturally pulling in all the life force energies of the elements that exist outside of you, or those that once belonged to you but have been lost, have been dissipated, or even perhaps stolen. Pull them all back into this body, like a magnet. And the magnet is the Hri syllable in the heart, pulling in all this life vitality. And if you're doing this particular practice for a specific person, a specific group of persons, then you can now bring to mind these persons or this person. See them as Amitayus as well, appearing in the form of Amitayus.
and see from their chrysalable in the center of their hearts, pulling in all the life energies, the vitalities that have been lost through the elements are now being reabsorbed into them, into you, into all beings. Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayunyana Sumvinishtita Tejo Rajaya Tathagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Tiyata Om Punye Punye Mahapunye Aparimita Punye Aparimita Punya Jnana Sambharo Pachitte Om Sarva Sanskara Parishuddhe Dharmate Gagana Samugate Swabhava Vishuddhe Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayudhyana Samvinishita Tejo Rajaya Tathagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Punye Punye Mahapunye Aparimita Punye Aparimita Punya Jana Sambharo Pachitte Om Sarva Sanskara Parishuddhe Dharmate Gagana Samugate Swabhava Vishuddhe Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Suvinishchita Tejo Rajaya Tathagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Punye Punye Mahapunye Aparimita Punye Aparimita Punya Jana Sambharo Pachitte Om Sarva Sanskara Parishuddhe Dharmate Gagana Samugate Swabhava Vishuddhe Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayudhyana Suvinishchita Tejo Rajaya Tathagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Punye Punye Mahapunye Aparimita Punye Aparimita Punya Dhyana Sambharo Pachitte Om Sarva Sanskara Parishuddhe Dharmate Gagana Samugate Swabhava Vishuddhe Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayudhyana
Sumvinishchita Tejo Rajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Punye Punye Maha Punye Aparimita Punye Aparimita Punya Jana Sambaropa Chite Om Sarva Sanskara Parishuddhe Dharmate Kakana Samugate Swabhava Vishuddhe Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Yurjana Sumvinishchita Tejo Rajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Punye Punye Maha Punye Aparimita Punye Aparimita Punya Jana Sambaropa Chite Om Sarva Samskara Parishuddhe Dharmate Gagana Samukate Swabhava Vishuddhe Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Suvinishchita Tejo Rajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Punye Punye Maha Punye Aparimitya Punya Aparimita Punya Jana Sambara Ropa Chitte Om Sarva Samskara Parishuddhe Dharmate Gagana Samukate Swabhava Vishuddhe Mahanaya Parivare Soha. So that was the root dharani of Aparimita Ayugyana. And that's like the long name for Amitayu, is Aparimita Ayugyana. So Amitayus, literally, it means boundless life. Amita Ayu. Amita Ayus. Ayus is life longevity. So Ayurveda is the knowledge of longevity. Veda in that context means knowledge. So Ayurveda is a branch of medicine in India. So Amita Ayu. Amitayu. So it's a long A, Amitayu. Right? Then Amitabha. Amitabha. That is Abba. Abba is light. So boundless light. Amitabha. So Amitabha and Amitayu, essentially they are the same Buddha, but manifesting in two aspects. In the aspect of Amitabha, he is depicted like Buddha Shakyamuni, like a fully ordained monk, wearing the three Dharma robes, red in color, the complexion, like Amitayus. There, not always, but there frequently, then Amitabha is associated with his Pure Land, Sukhavati, the realm of great bliss. It's the Buddha realm that is said
to be closest to us. Somehow, some connection was made so that it's easiest for us to achieve rebirth in Amitabha's Pure Land. Amitabha's Pure Land is, maybe you could even say, sometimes it is interpreted like almost like a halfway house. But this is not a halfway house to, well, in a way it is. You come out of the prison of samsara, you're not yet ready to fold into society. So then you go to a halfway house to get used to sane, good society. Then you're integrated back, right? A halfway house. Likewise, sometimes Amitabha's Pure Land is spoken in those terms, meaning now we exit this prison of samsara, but they're not quite ready for nirvana. We're not refined ourselves yet. We have not reformed ourselves yet to be able to enter the great city of nirvana. So we go to the Amitabha Sukhavati halfway house. There too, finally refined and clear and completely prepare ourselves so that we are ready to achieve Buddhahood and to enter the great city of nirvana. As a footnote, it's very interesting, as much as the Buddha recommended that living in the forest is a good, but he was also not fixated. Because the expressions that he used for nirvana is often the great city of nirvana. I don't know exactly what that means, but he spoke to his audience like, you shall enter the great city of nirvana. So anyway, interesting footnote, I think. Then Amitayus, boundless life, appears in what we call a Sambhogakaya form. Whereas the fully ordained monk form is called a Nirmanakaya form. Now this is not directly related to the three kayas, Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya. When we talk of Sambhogakaya form or Nirmanakaya form, we are using Thangka painting language. It's an iconographic expression. So when it says, so-and-so appears in the Nirmanakaya form, what it is saying to the painter, or to those of us visualizing, is to say, now you visualize, you imagine the Buddha like Buddha Shakyamuni, fully ordained monk, 3 robes, holding a begging bowl perhaps, That's what's called a Nirmanakaya form. Elsewhere, some of you who do the Achi cleansing offering, it says, Jigten Sumgun appear as a Nirmanakaya. What it is saying there is he appears in the form of fully ordained monk, dressed in the 3 Dharma robes. Yeah? It is not that, he appears in a more physical form than a Sambhogakaya form. That's not what it's communicating. Likewise here, when it says Amitayus is in a Sambhogakaya form, it's an iconographic use of that word Sambhogakaya. It means he appears in the form of what I would call in a royal, princely form. Like Prince Siddhartha may have looked like, with a crown, with earrings, with necklaces, with armlets, bracelet, anklets, long necklace, middle necklace, short necklace, a choker. All those often called the 13 Sambhogakaya ornaments. And then, of course, those 13 are linked to 13 Buddha qualities. Don't ask me what they are, I already forgot. But you could easily look it up. except for when you're in the bardo. I don't know if Google is available or not. And you're giving a test at the bardo, you know. But he said I could look it up. Maybe not possible, I don't know. If the bardo is like, you know, the gates of heaven with St. Peter, then I think we're in trouble. You have to pass a bunch of tests before you're admitted. Anyway, and so this Sambhogakaya form of Amitayus emphasizes the Buddha with all the qualities obvious. Lest you think, you know, oh, this is only in Mahayana or Vajrayana. Actually, no. If you look at old statues like in Burma, Sri Lanka, Laos, you will see they have this form as well. In fact, a lot of Thai Buddha images, Burmese Buddha images, they have Buddha wearing crowns in a kingly, in a royal form. There is emphasizing the explicit qualities of Buddhahood. So when we look at Amitayus, when we imagine, visualize ourselves as Amitayus, and then we should think of our Buddha qualities are apparent and attractive, handsome, good looking. Right? Now if you say, but I want to visualize him as her, well, it's up in your head, do what you want, you know. Understand the principle. Understand the principle that is being represented there. Then, if you want to experiment, what to say? Try it, see what happens. I don't know. So Amitayus is this. In any case, you know, many of these bodhisattvas, they're kind of androgynous. The way they are painted, the way they are depicted. They're somewhat androgynous. Only in the Vajrayana, explicitly Vajrayana representation, then there they like in your face tell you whether this is with male body parts or female body parts. There's also one class of deity called Maning. It's not neutered. No. It's not neutered. They were not fixed. Nobody did any chop. But it should be translated as hermaphrodite. Yeah. So there's even one class of Vajrayana deities that are described as hermaphrodite. So they're covering the whole range, you know. Animal heads, human heads, more than one head, you know. Headless also. Headless. So whatever you are able to imagine and not able to imagine, there is a Buddha that looks like that. Om Amarani Javantiya Soha, 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 Om Amarani Javanteya 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 Soha,
Om Amarani Jivantiya Soha. 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 Nijavante Soha. Om Amara 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 Nijavante Soha. Amara Nijavante Soha. Om 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 Amara Om Amara Nijavante Soha. 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 The Tantras teach that when we accumulate mantras, then our breath has the power of mantra. So then at the end of the session, we blow into the mala. So then the mala is continuously blessed by the power of mantra. So much so that in times of emergency, this can serve as a powerful support for bringing together channeling blessings.
whether for yourself or others, to put on your own head, to put on someone's head, someone's heart. So in Vajrayana, mala is not just a counting device. Mala is a support for containing the blessings from the breath of mantra that we blow into. So people who are, kind of strict about how they relate to their mala normally don't like other people touching it or even other people seeing it. I have one teacher in the Drikung Kagyu. Legend has it, he's known for this. Legend has it, no one has seen his mala before. He hides it under his robes. Then in one empowerment where he's supposed to as a Vajra master in this one empowerment, he's supposed to push the mala, right? And then the disciple is supposed to hold that mala, like he's supposed to push a bead, and the disciple is supposed to receive a bead. It was still under his robes. You have to stick it in and do this. So nobody has ever seen his mala. Yeah. And so then you say, well, if he has to use it, how does it use it? Yeah, it's in the pouch, as in use it to bless, it's in his pouch. And then he will, yeah. So these are devices, again, of sectioning off something. Right? And then, of course, you say, well, shouldn't everything just be sacred? Yes, of course. But the thing is that we don't do that, We just make everything mundane. So we start by sectioning off certain things, so that certain thing can remind you of everything. Yeah, that's one way to use it. Not to say you have to use it, A little bit self-conscious when I talk about stuff, because I sell stuff to pay bills. But joking aside, really, if you know how to use, then yes, good, If you don't know, then it's just decorative, You just wear it as a symbol, I'm one of those people, Walk around town, looking good, That's okay, But there are many meanings and uses for mala. Okay, now summoning life force. Rangi tseba me sewe duke sabon le kyawa ringa tsebun dan tadar toba paktu me partro, clearly visualizing yourself as Amitayus from the seed syllable in your heart centers radiates sectors of the 5 families holding races and longevity errors. Rangi shata dro number shepe kam ne se dorya nyam yoge kyam rel chi jing don ge ki ku tropa tham che dang sa chu me lo nam ke chu dang sam ke chang sen lama idam kandro chokyong tham che ki jin lab dan se la wang wa tham che ki che ring zen ro wa rik du ki che so ben jo so lo wang lo ki to tham che ku ne che zen nam la tim. The life
forces from the essences of your own flesh, blood, heat, breath, consciousness, elements that have been scattered, weakened, lost, damaged, dented, or collapsed, or which has been stolen, robbed by evil spirits and obstructors, together with earth, water, fire, air, and space, and the blessings of all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Gurus, Idams, Dakinis, Dharmapalas, Vidyadharas, with power over life, the powers of the lifespan, merit, splendor, life force, health, potency, luck of sentient beings of the six realms. All these are summoned and dissolved into the longevity substances. Hondani neo jo wan chu gi shayi kam ne se nyam na chum ne rin jun ya yung gi sayi kam ne se gu chi om rana ayute. Through the element of flesh, the lifespan of me, our Lord of Yogis has cleared Bhagavan, Rana Sambhava, male and female, summon lifespan from the earth element. Om Rana Ayute. Gi kam ne se nyam na chum de mi kyo yab yung gi chu ni kam ne se ku chi om bhadra om through the element of blood, the lifespan of me, our Lord of Yogis has decreased. Bhagavan Akshobhya, male and female, summon lifespan from the water element. Om Kam ne se nyam na chom den pa ye yam yung gi me yi kam ne se kyu chi om pema ayute. Through the element of heat, the lifespan of me, our Lord of Yogis has decreased. Bhagavan Amitabha, male and female, summon lifespan from the fire element. Om Pema Uki kam ne se nyam na chum den ton ru yap yung ki long ki kam ne se kyu chi om bhadra through the element of breath, lifespan of me, our Lord of Yogis has decreased. Bhagavan Amoga Siddhi, male and female, summon lifespan from the wind element. Om Karma 남셰 감내세 냠나 좀된 남남 여윤기 남케 감내세 규지 옴 부다 consciousness, the lifespan of me, a lot of yogis has decreased. Bhagavan Vairocana, male and female, summon lifespan from the space element. Om Buddha. So now, roll this so that the ribbons signaling the 5 elements, vitality of the 5 elements, are wrapped around the central arrow. Om Kyoden Seme Durjela Nam Nam Kolo Kuyikya Ame Pema Sungigya Mikyo Dorjek Tukigya Rinchon Rinchen Yon Tengya Dondrugya Dam Trinlegya Mikyo Minam Kedabong. On this fortunate deathless Vajra Vairocana's will seals exalted body. Amitayus lotus seals exalted speech. Akshobhya's Vajra seals exalted mind. Ratna Sambhava's jewel seals exalted qualities. Amoga Siddhi Scars Vajra seals exalted activities. Sealing in the unchanging and undefiled. Buddha Vajrana Pema Karma Mudra Supardishta Raksha. Temi Shibadur Jeta Bugirji Minuka Senta Bugirji Nigurya Wundunta Bugirji Ime Durje Kudo Tobarshu. So today we also will do the Torma offering. So continuing on, first to cleanse the Torma offering. So the Torma offering, there is the Torma that we offer to dispel troublemakers, obstructors. That's called the Ngontor, a preliminary Torma, also called Gektor, which is Torma offered to Gek, to obstructors. Then there is the Bultor. Bultor means offering Torma. And that's the offering that we prepare on the shrine that is offered to the deity. Then there's also Lator, which is the deity Torma. Then in that case, is the Torma that is made? No, to represent the deity. The object that is often used to give empowerment. So here we also have the Lator. The Lator is this, in the deity Torma is in the form of this vase, this long life vase. So this is the Lator. Butor is bull, is to chupa bull, is the offering Torma. So the Butor is on the shrine. So when it comes to Torma, we, the people who offer it, we don't eat it. We don't use it afterwards. So often it's given to wild animals out back into nature. Chalk offering, Gana Chakra,
that we do take, because those are blessing substances that we take, that we enjoy, that we partake in. But torma, we don't. Om Abhignanta Krita Hom Te Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddhoham Dompa Nidurgyur Dompe Ngam Brum Le Jung We Rinpoche No Yang Xing Gya Jiwe Nang Du Om Ahong. All becomes emptiness within the state of emptiness. Rises a broom from which arises a precious vessel, vast and expansive, within which is Om Ahong. Udu Shuwale Jungwe Torma Kado Rironu Apunson Solpadi Dope Yonteng Adan Dembe Dutsi Gyatso Chempor Giru. They melt into life from which arises the substances of the Torma, an ocean of elixir possessing the 5 blessing qualities of color, smell, taste, ability, and abundance. Om Ahom Ha-Ho-Hi. Om Ahom Ha-Ho-Hi. Om Ahom Ha-Ho-Hi. Jnana Saparivara Idam Balekta Kaka Kahi Kahi Chundende Kordan Chebala Chujingi Torma Gyachempo Dishela Nepeda Kyaki Penden Lama Tampe Kutseryam Trinle Cheche Gepada De Dala Bardu Chope Mitun Pe Chotamche Nirva Shivadam Bhagavan and retinue, accept and be pleased by this great offering Torma. Increase greatly the life and activities of our sublime, glorious Guru. May all the hindrances and discordant conditions to that be completely pacified. Semchen tamche du mayin bar Jiwala sope jipa chenpo gedan chudu Sole tar shin ne tson muge tru tsola Sope kyapa mi jungwa zo dengi Pel yon tabula longchu padam. All sentient beings be
liberated and protected from the 8 great fears, the 16 fears, such as untimely death, may they enjoy great abundance like the prosperity. It's the complete absence of misfortune, such as the occurrence of illness, harm from weapons, famine, and warfare. Dan Jimben Hampodu Mayin Parjiwala Sokbe Niete Tamche Shishing Sambe Don Tamche Juden Du Dubadan De Dala War Du Chobe Nese Tamche Mijung Shing. I and all my benefactors escape all unfortunate circumstances, untimely death, and so forth. May we fulfill all our goals through their practice of Dharma activities. May no obstacles to this arise in any lifetime. Sedang sonam beljun tamche yargo dawatar belshing gebada tortu namba tamche kimpya yawa otsen gompo gompang de laptu tubada. May all I spend merit, glory, and wealth increase like the summer waxing moon. Ultimately, may I easily accomplish the state of the all-knowing protector, Amitabha. Dema toki bardu tsera tamchedu chumden kyuni la pelar zin ching mi trawa jinji la ching ngadu namni tsuwe trin le tu me du par jinji lap tu so. Until then, in all my lives, may I be blessed to always hold and never be separated from you, Bhagavan, as my special deity. Please grant the blessings of the realization of the unlimited exalted activities, the two attainments. Ayur Gyana Sapari Vara Aryam Padyam Pushpe Dhupe Aloke Kende Nevede Shabda Pratida. Ba me du min chi wa ma lu chom se pa go me du kya kirpa nam ki kya. Recitations book. Me la cha se lo Amitayus, chief guide of this world, destroyer of untimely death, without exception, refuge for protectorless suffering beings, I pay homage to you. Boundless ma nie da da mo lo yi gang gi pe che la non pa kiru pa da gong kyo de kun so par so for meager incomplete offerings for mistakes made through my ignorance, or for adding or omitting things. Protector, please forgive these mistakes. Jumden gompo tse ba me nian jing du be ge wa di da so do wa ma lu pa si yi ring sin cho do sho ri Bhagavan Amitayus, protector by the virtue of this recitation and practice, may I and all wandering beings attain the supreme Vidyadhara level. Rimindro dambe sojo wa sajila me cho so wa chi me gong mo can purchase se ba dam chen kya so may the auspiciousness of root and lineage gurus who grant the supreme instructions, ripening and liberating auspiciousness Amitayus Buddha, who grants supreme attainments of the supreme and ordinary auspiciousness of the ocean of Samaya holders, to dispel adversities and obstacles. So this completes the Amitayus practice. Today I also see that we have, aside from the Casa Tibet centers, we have the Dharma group in Little Rock, Arkansas, and also the Dragoon Center in Madison, Wisconsin. So always very happy to see all of you gathered to practice together in person. Also today, we want to, there's a request to do a offering of lamps. So you might be able to see in one of the screens there our lamp offering setup with 108 lamps that we are offering. So any and all occasions can be occasions for offering lamps. But then in particular, there is the offering of lamps when someone has passed away. So the idea there is through the interdependence of others offering lamps to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, may the wisdom and compassion of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the form of light guide these individuals who are passing through the bardo. May they see clearly, may they see without confusion, and reach a good rebirth, or rebirth in Amitabha or any of the Pure Lands of the Buddhas, whoever they may be connected with. So today there's a request to do a lamp offering for someone who just passed away. What was his name?
Tom
Tom. Do you remember the last name?
Edwards,
Tom Edwards. Where?
Cleveland, Ohio.
So passed away in Cleveland, Ohio, Tom Edwards. And so we dedicate this to him, and then to all the beings that are needing, particularly, whether wandering in the bardo of after this life or wandering in the bardo of this life, could also be as dark and confusing. We also offer this merit of offering the lamps to them. So those of you out there, you don't have the words for this, but in the temple we have. So we are going to do the lamp offering now. The recitations book, page 73. Only in English. This lamp made from precious jewels become as large as the 3,000 worlds in the middle of a boundless ocean of melted butter. Appears in work of the lamp high as king of mountains. We invite Buddhas of the 10 directions, each one manifesting clearly. 100 million times light fills the space from the pinnacle of samsara down to the hell of unceasing torment, completely illuminating the darkness of ignorance. I see the faces of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. Om Bhadra Aloke. These lamps that are the vast alaya consciousness of beings are filled with melted butter of the completely pure Madhatu. On the wick of the precious bodhicitta shine the flames of the spontaneous bodies of the conquerors. These blazing flames of self-arisen wisdom are offered to gurus, idams, dakinis, and guardians. May all downfalls be repaired, the mundane and supreme attainments achieved. Om Guru Deva Dakini Saparivara Aloke Pratijaya. clear illumination of this wonderful and marvelous lamp is offered to the thousand Buddhas, fortunate young, to Gurus, Idams, Dakinis, and Dharmapalas of all the infinite pure lands in the 10 directions, and to the assembly of deities of the mandalas, all sentient beings of the lower realms from now on and in all their future lives, may they see all of Buddha's pure lands and become inseparable from protectors and less lie by achieving the state higher than the sky of the deities of the 3 jewels and 3 roots. Please bless us to immediately actualize this aspiration prayer by the power of truth. Deyata Panchadriya Avabodhanaya Swaha. Page 108. Hong osa sangje nang wa ta ye dang Yesu jobo tuje chenpo dang Yondu senpa tuje to nam la sangje changsen pa me kor ki kor Deki no sa pak tu me pa ye dewa chinse shawe shin kam der Dashen dine tse po girma ta kewa sengi barma choparu Deru kene nam te shel ton sho deke dagi mon lam tabadi Chochu sangye changsem tam je ki keme drupa jinji labdu so Deyata Panchadriya Avabodhanaya Swaha. Chanchu Semcho Rinpoche Magye Panam Kye So please think that in particular, all the merit and all the virtues that we have accumulated, that we have brought together today through our practice as a group, and all the virtues of the 3 times past, present, and future, and all the good of past, present, and future that has been collected, that has been created, is being created now, that will be created in the future. Think beyond the present to all times, at all places. Bring together all the good and all this virtue and dedicate it to the freedom and liberation of all beings from the confusion of cyclic existence. In particular, we dedicate this to those whom we are practicing this for, this practice of Amitayus. Then also dedicate this to all the volunteers at the various Dharma centers in whatever capacity. May this merit bless them with stable and long life lived with vitality, dedicated to the families, especially of our volunteers,
may they too meet these circumstances of healthy, stable lives, and may their lives be lived with vitality for the creation of virtue and good for the benefit of all beings. Okay, we are done today. Next Saturday, we have our third session for the group practice. Then the final Saturday is the empowerment of Amitayus. That will be done here at the temple in person. For those of you who are part of the Casa Tibet network, if you can attend, great. If not, don't worry, because in the second weekend of May, the Leon Center is hosting me in person. I will be there. And that weekend, Friday night, is the Amitayus empowerment, followed by Saturday and Sunday, Amitayus practice and instructions. So probably the center is also making it available through Zoom. I don't know all the details, so please check with Casa Tibet. Then you can join us there in that way, or even better, come to Leon. Then I will see you there. So everyone here, thank you for coming. If you can help us put things away, that's always very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you who volunteered here to make it possible for others to come and seek refuge and sanctuary whenever they need so. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you to the coordinators, the translators, and all the people taking care of Zoom and everything. Bye-bye.